Good morning, Facebook. It's Monday morning. You know, I try to come on and do Monday motivation. My hair is actually big today, which I'm loving. But I have no makeup on. I actually am working from home. I have some calls I have to do and some trainings that I'm doing from home. So it's kind of nice to work from home sometimes. But, you know, the thing about just what we do is you got to self-motivate. I think the last few weeks, as I have been writing my book and going back to the place of why I started, the beginning of my career, how do you continue to do something where you don't see anything tangible? I wasn't getting paid. I was causing more debt. You know, how do you continue to motivate yourself? And that's something that has been something I've tried to be consistent with no matter what I was seeing, no matter how much money was in the bank, no matter what my appointment book looked like. I always wanted to be able to consistently have that same amount of motivation when I had a full book versus when I had no one. And that is the most difficult thing to do, is to have not only motivation, but to have vision and see that this is how I want my business to be. For me, it was always very clear. I just never knew the way to get there. I never knew how to keep it consistent. And that's something with estheticians and service-based industry. We have to have people patronize our business in order for us to survive. Most businesses close for lack of customers and lack of income. So how do you stay motivated when you have nobody on your books? How do you stay optimistic when you have rent due in 3 days, but you can't see it? It's the interesting and most difficult part is really understanding that your motivation has to come from you. It don't matter what you see, who talks to you, who tells you. You're always going to have someone that's going to be, no, if you can't survive, you can always go back and get a job. You can always apply to do this. You can always do that. That's one thing I always really was very, very adamant about, is listening to people who don't see what I see, who don't have my vision, who don't have the entrepreneurial spirit. I never really listened to them. You don't understand. You have no idea. You don't know what it's like to be able to wake up and say, you know what, I'm not going to work for someone else. I'm going to work for myself. People who are entrepreneurs and who want to be successful in this industry, you got to have some tough skin. You got to have motivation that is so precise and consistent that no matter who says what, you're going to do it. I will never forget that, you know, when I started my business and I had my daughter's 11 now. She was born late, of course, that's my child. And I had employees to take over the business while I was on maternity leave. Well, I was going to come back in 30 days and everything was going to go right. As with employees, nothing is a guarantee when you hire people. Even though we think the motivation is that a paycheck will allow people to stay, that's not always the case. So these estheticians decided to leave. They called and said, I'm not coming in. Now, I had a full book. I had my daughter, and less than a week later, I was back working. I had a newborn baby in my spa, seeing customers, breastfeeding in between clients. My dad was in the back holding her, you know, making sure she got burped and changed and slept. I did this for a month. So you can't tell me that, you know, I don't ever want to hear anyone say excuses about, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that. I had just given birth. I had a C-section. I had a horrible C-section. That's a story for another day. But I had a C-section. I had swollen legs. I had swollen feet. I still, no matter what it looked like, I still got up with my newborn child, drove an hour to work, 8 hours on my feet, breastfeed in between customers in order for me to survive and get what I needed. Now, some of you may look at me and say, you know what, that's the most craziest thing I've ever heard. But guess what? I have a story now. If that is not motivation for anybody, I had no choice. I had to eat. I could not let me having a child close my business. Like, that was not in me. Remember, I am that entrepreneur. I'm every woman. So yes, I can have a child and I can have a business. I can have a baby and my business can come. We can do it all together. So don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. Now, I will say that those war wounds that I have now, my body definitely got worn out just by that. But it's different when you really come to the point where you're saying, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to do this. No matter what I see, no matter how bad it is, I'm going to continue. Because here's the thing, you have to have something that will get you to be grounded. What are you going to be grateful for and thankful for? If you got everything up front, you wouldn't appreciate it. I appreciate everything I have. Part of my appreciation is sharing my experiences, sharing my knowledge with people, because I truly believe that when you give back and you share, it's always about hoping that people don't take the same path that I did. I took a path that was very emotional. My struggles were ones that were huge struggles, but they were also big learning lessons. I mean, I have had the most freedom to travel and experience things because I took such a headfirst nosedive into this career. I did all the things that I wasn't supposed to do. I, challenged the status quo. So when I look back at it and I say, you know what, I could change this or I could change that, but the outcome, I still want it to be the same. I still want those same learning lessons. I still want those same instances that happened because it helped me understand. The problem, I think, that even entrepreneurs in general, we don't ever want to say the struggle, talk about the struggle, show the struggle, explain why we struggle. We never want to talk about that. We only want the glory and the, I made it and I'm making 6 figures, 7 figures, and this is, great now. It's great now. We don't want to talk about when we were making 1 figure. We don't want to talk about when we were making 2 figures. We don't even want to talk about when we had 10 clients. And it's just a part of the way. That's the path. It has, there's no other way around it. No one comes into this industry with a bookload of clients. No one stays in this industry with the same clients. We all have clients that move on. We all have clients that come and go. We all have clients that only come for us to a season, then they go about their business and then they'll come back. It's all a part of the system. It's all a part of the whole cycle of understanding what we offer. It's just really, it's difficult. It's difficult and can be stressful. I have been married. So I have been a business owner. I was a mom and I got divorced during all of this. So single mom, little child, struggling to make the business work. I've done it all. I've done it all. I'm now remarried, as you know, but I've had a partner who was not supportive at all. I had a partner who did not want me to do it, but wanted to reap the rewards. Didn't want to work, didn't want to contribute, but wanted to sit back and tell me what I'm going to do. And as you all know, that's not something I'm, very comfortable with, and I voiced that opinion. But it's never impossible. You can always do whatever you want to do. And that's something that I've always pushed. If you're going to tell me no, I'm going to figure out how to do it and I'm going to do it better. And then I'm going to tell people how I did it. That's always been me. I've always wanted to say to someone, and I have, that, you didn't give me an opportunity, so I decided to do it on my own. Thanks for not giving me that opportunity, because I wouldn't have what I have if you'd said yes. We would be on a different path. I would be on a different path. Good morning. You got to really realize, what is it that you want at the end of the day? What do you want? And if you got it, what do you do with it? I love to play devil's advocate when I have people that reach out to me all the time. I always say, okay, so let's say you had a full book. Let's say you had 1,000 clients. What then? Will that make you happy? How many days a week do you want to work? Will that make you happy? Do you want to have, 10 clients a day? Does that make you happy? Do you want to have $1,000 in retail sales every day? Will that make you happy? What is it that'll really make you happy? Because at some point, and you get it, you realize that your wants and your needs change. When you get to a certain level, things change. So what is it that, at the end of the day, what is it that really makes you happy? What do you really want to do? And that's something that I really, as I started stepping away more from the treatment room, I really had to understand what is it that I really wanted to do. I always know I wanted to have multiple ways to make income. I always wanted to do it in aesthetics. I always wanted to be able to share what I was doing. And that's kind of it. Do I miss the day-to-day grind in aesthetics? I don't. I really don't. And I also think that, 15 years coming on, it's hard on your body. Like, even my body hurts now. I mean, I still get treatments and stuff like that, but I don't know if I could continue to work at that level that I worked at for a long period of time. It would be something that I would continue to look at and say, there's something more. What more is there that I can do? That was my path. But I do enjoy helping people who were at the point where I was in the beginning. I like to really give people understanding that you can do it. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. But no, it's going to be the hardest thing that you ever do, and it's going to be a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work all the time. This is not a career where you only work on your business from 9 to 5. No, this is a career that you work on your business 24/7. If you want it to be successful, you always got to work it and tweak it and change it and stay up with the times and stay up with the marketing and stay up with all these things. You're always changing how you communicate what you do. That's the one thing I think that's never changing, is that you always have to do it and show it and offer it in multiple different ways. You can't just put something out there and then think people are just going to see it. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And now that you have branding and you have social media, which are free platforms, and I don't quite understand why estheticians don't understand that Instagram is free, Facebook is free, Twitter is free, YouTube is free. Why do you not, use those platforms? I use all of those platforms for everything that I do, whether I'm talking about my products, whether I'm demoing a wax service, whether I'm talking about my ebook, or I'm talking about how I help estheticians market. Like, I'm always showing different ways on different platforms, the same thing. And we have it now. When I had my stuff, honey, please. No, it was word of mouth. It was flyers. It was business cards. It's not that way anymore. But those I had to pay for. These are free platforms. I love Facebook. If you can figure out the Facebook algorithm and the YouTube algorithm, and if you're going to notice me changing them. And you'll see, and I'm testing things right now, it's very easy. A lot of us have a lot of things to talk about. We know and have stories of a client who we never thought we would help, how they've turned into a swan because of what we've told them and shared with them. People want to hear that. We always love a good before and after. We love to see what people start off with, and we love to see what they end up as. That's just the way humans are. We love to see that. But a lot of us don't want to show that. Why not? That's what we specialize in. We specialize in results and happy customers. So you got to show results and happy customers. It has to be. We are in a vain society. So when you have someone that has, not full brows, or someone that, doesn't do things, and you show how you can transform them from this is what they look like to this is what they look like now, people are mesmerized by that. And it never changes. Whether you do that now or you do that 10 years from now, people are always going to want to see a makeover, do-over, improvement. That's just how we are. That's our society. I don't understand why, but that's just what it is. And I figured that out. People want to see, was it like in the beginning, and where are you now? They love to see that whole platform. If you're struggling, it is the power for the course. You're supposed to struggle. I don't know why, you just are. And it does. It helps you appreciate what you have. It helps you appreciate, down the line when you look back, I got here because of this happening, and I learned this so fast, and I was doing this and doing that. You have to. And there's no different with aesthetics. There's no difference in that. I think the biggest question that I usually get is most people asking, how did you get into wholesale distribution? How did you get into creating your product line? How did you get into, selling and trade shows and all of that? That's something that it takes money and time. But at the same time, it's still in aesthetics. Like, there's a lot of things as an esthetician we can do. We don't veer too much to the right or to the left. Most of us are either we're going to offer services and sell products, or we're not. I wanted to be to the right and to the left, and that's what I did. I wanted to do the wholesale side of it. I wanted to do the training side of it. I wanted to do the demo side. I wanted to do the creativity side. Like, I really wanted to look at everything that I could possibly do as an esthetician and do it. And that's kind of what brought me to the platform that I'm on now. I'm able to discuss things. I'm able to bring reality to things. I'm able to talk about things that most people don't want to talk about. And I like that. I'm very direct. I like being direct, but I also like being very truthful. And I think had I had some place or someone I could have looked to that brought a little bit more truth to the understanding of what it's like to be in this career and actually be successful, I would have done things a lot different. It's not just, I don't even think it's just the money. I just would have made different decisions. I would have focused on different things. I would have understood a little bit more the importance of knowing that, it doesn't matter what the product label says or who it's created by. If you truly understand ingredients, that'll get you so much further than just knowing what the name of a product is. I would have focused more on chemistry. And I have, as you guys know, Angela and I went to Michael Pugliese and Dr. Rebecca Gadberry's class at San Jose Face and Body Show, which was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I'm hoping they will do it again, and I will go wherever they're going to do it again if I'm not doing a show. But I would have focused more on those. It's just, it's different than, you putting yourself in a box. You can make great income as an esthetician, but the success of aesthetics and skincare actually doesn't come from services. And that's really the honest truth. It comes from being diverse. How many things can you do as an esthetician for estheticians in multiple different ways? And that's kind of the formula that I have found. I didn't really stumble upon it. I was told, I went to work for California Skincare Supply in California, and Mary Keller and her daughter, Kelly Anderson, they owned it, and Mary told me, you're going to have a small amount of people that you can see every day, which is going to cap your income. You want to be able to have an income that you make 24/7 and there's no cap on it. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? Because I came from the understanding that whatever my hands touch is what I make. I didn't realize that there was other ways that I can make income without touching people. And that's kind of what intrigued me even more when clients became very inconsistent. It was more of when they became inconsistent, why were they inconsistent? Do I just wait for clients to come back? What do you do in the meantime when it slows down? Like, I never understood that the connection between seasonal customers and the time of year was so super important. But I never planned for that. I was so busy in the moment and excited and happy because I had all these clients that I never understood that it was going to be ebbs and flows. I never understood that because I did not come from that background. My background was focus on skin, do it great, correct it, show befores and afters. Perfect waxing, do it well, do it quickly. People will talk and they will send you customers. I was never from the understanding that you only have a certain amount of people you can see every day. You only have a certain amount of people you can see every week. That's going to cap how you make income. I never looked at it at that point. All I looked at it was, if I could get someone in my treatment room every 30 minutes, and if I had 2 treatment rooms, that means I could get 2 people every 30 minutes, I can make this work. But I didn't see the bigger picture until years later. I didn't see the picture until it was, a little too late. It was a little too late. Even with 3 treatment rooms, and I went to 3 treatment rooms, and I had staff that were, turning over my treatment room and that were answering the phones and checking people out and selling retail. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So now here I am, and I am, focusing a lot more on sharing and understanding and hoping that people don't, what's the right word? I think people give up on aesthetics so quickly because they get frustrated with it because they don't understand it. Aesthetics is very tricky. It depends on where you are. It depends on who you connect with, how people know you, if they know you. How do you advertise? What's the platform you use? Are you consistent with it? People get frustrated if they don't get the results right away. In this industry, you don't get results right away. Even in skin, it takes time. But if you don't know that in the beginning, it becomes frustrating. And that's, for me, I didn't care what the frustration was. I just knew that I wasn't going to go back and work for somebody. I knew I wasn't going to push a clock. I wasn't going to be stuck on the freeway commuting to a job I hated. I knew that. But at the same time, I also had to realize that the sacrifices that I did were always going to be towards the bigger goal. It wasn't going to be monetary. The lessons I learned definitely were not monetary, but it allowed me to be able to share. It allowed me to be able to teach. It allowed me to be able to talk to people and say, I know you've been there. I know you don't pay yourself. I know that you've been working for yourself for years and you still don't collect a check. I know that you live off of tips. I know, I did it for a long time, a lot longer than 2 years. 10 years is a long time to be in a business and not have a consistent income coming from it. And the income that I did came from it did not go to me. I'll say that. It's a long time. And most people don't want to say that. Oh no, we're doing well. No, not really. Who admits that they're not doing well? Not a lot of us. I didn't do well. I didn't do well for a very, very, very long time. I was successful in business, but I was not smart enough or did not understand the business enough to understand the money and being able to live off of the money that I was making. I made bad business decisions. And I made them for a very long time. Now, there were some circumstances that kind of changed that, but I didn't make great money decisions. I bought stuff I didn't need. And it's the same song and dance for a lot of us, but a lot of us don't want to admit that. We just don't. It's not in our nature. So anyway, this Monday motivation, I'm just hoping that you guys really just understand that 1, you're not alone in your struggle. 2, it will get better the more you put into it. And 3, you have a unique opportunity to be and do whatever you want. The more people who know what you do, the more people and the faster your income will grow for your clientele. If you're not talking about it, if you're not sharing it, if everyone around you doesn't know what you do, that's part of the reason why your business hasn't grown. And I'm telling you, my mom and dad may not know everything I do, honey, but they got business cards. They may not understand what I do, but they got a business card. So, my dad hands out business cards for hair people, and I don't do hair. And I keep telling him I'm not hair, but he gives them a card anyway because he thinks because I remove hair, that's hair, whatever. But my family knows what I do. So if you're looking and you wake up on Monday and you're like, oh, it's another Monday. You got to change that mindset. I have I have actually 2 places where I have vision boards and motivation. I'm all about the sticky. So I have probably about 10 stickies on my work desk here at home. I have 10 stickies on my work desk at my office. I actually have stickies in the mirror. So every morning, whatever goal I'm looking on, I have that goal. I actually have the goal next to me on my nightstand. There is power and writing down what you want and writing down a goal and looking at it every day. There's power in that. That's how I started getting out of debt. I started writing down how much I wanted to make and how much I wanted to put in my bank account every day. That's how I got to where I am now. Is I wrote it down and made it a goal and did everything I could to get to that goal. So if you're not, really focusing on, if you're so focused on getting clients, take a step back and say, okay, so when I get these clients, what am I going to do with them? It's not just about having clients. What do you do with those clients? Or if you have enough money and you buy a whole retail line, okay, how do you keep it from sitting on your shelf for a week or two? You got to be strategic. You got to be strategic. All right, guys, I'm going to cut off for Monday motivation. You can definitely see the rest of my videos on my fan page, which is Stephanie Laynes, or my YouTube channel, which is also Stephanie Laynes or Smooth Skin Supply. You can do a search both on those. And I will see you guys next time.